Hi, once again, welcome to this series, and thank you for joining us in this series of interviews that I put together by weight loss experts, using your mind to help assist in weight loss. And the series of interviews is called Using Your Mind for a Change, Making Weight Loss Easier. I'm your host, Jean Natray, weight loss expert. And today is our final interview for this series. And today I'm talking with Danna Pycher. She's a master hypnotherapist, a public speaker, and an author. So once again, thank you for joining us. I'm really appreciative of your attendance. And back to Danna now. Why don't you tell us more about who you are and how you can help us?
Beautiful. Well, thanks so much, Jean, for having me on your summit. And I'm happy to be here. And again, I'm Danna. Hi, all. And I am a hypnotherapist. I specialize in trauma and disease, and that's what most people know me for. And also weight loss and how your emotional world creates your eating habits. And that's what basically brings me here today, is the work I do with people to really uncover the core issues of why they're eating, why they're overeating, why they're undereating, their food choices, and really the bulk of the work of the emotions behind our physical behavior.
Yeah, exactly. So can you tell us about how using hypnotherapy helps? How does it actually work to affect our choices, I guess you'd say, to affect our emotions, to affect the lifestyle choices that we make, which really our lifestyle choices is what constitutes our health and our wellness.
Completely. Our wellness really is in our hands. And we think that we are a product of our wellness and we are slaves to our habits, when in reality, it's the opposite. We decide. Sometimes those decisions are very difficult. So when it comes to willpower, when it comes to, everything in your body says you have to eat this right now, you have to have that right now. I'm not saying it's not difficult. And that's basically where I come in, because the conscious decision, your willpower, is this much of your capacity of your brain power, where your subconscious mind has so much more horsepower. It's basically everything you do. And if you can upgrade your nature, which is your subconscious mind, if you can upgrade that, your way of thinking, therefore you're just naturally making the right decisions. You're not using all of your effort to make the right choice. It's just happening more so effortlessly because you're not being hard on yourself. I'm not going to eat this. I'm not going to eat this. I'm not going to eat this. Actually, rather, when your subconscious mind clears up and cleans out, you don't have the desire. It kind of just melts away. Yeah.
So in other words, you're saying when a desire melts away, you're not succumbing to the draw of the processed foods and the sugar and the things that we shouldn't have, that tend to taste better most of the time, but are the least healthy for us. So,
yes.
And so I have never tried hypnosis before, but I am surmising from what you're saying that there's a very liberating factor there, that we're not having to use our willpower, or as I call it sometimes, our won't power.
Okay.
Yeah, we can be liberated from that because it happens a little bit more organically, pardon the pun.
Yes.
We just kind of give the power away to our subconscious mind, or actually take our power back from the subconscious mind.
Yes. The body knows what to eat and knows how to eat in its essence. When you eat something that's healthy and it's giving to you, ultimately your body does actually really crave that. The mind is something different because of the colorful packages, of the fact that we've actually been hypnotized by certain advertising and certain programming to think that processed foods, that's completely how I grew up. I thought that there's not a difference between something that's real and something that's been made in a factory.
Right.
Food is food is food. We're learning more and more that you're taking the vitality out of the food. So you're not getting any nutrition. And to compile on top of that, you're actually harming your body and potentially gaining weight. So we've actually been programmed to think that processed foods is food and the colorful packaging is so attractive, and it's become an addiction, and we haven't made the difference. And now we're learning that actually it's super harmful. So we have to unlearn, and you have to really go into that deep programming you have, unlearn, and hypnosis happens to be one of the more interesting techniques to go within and get you back to your real self, which actually really knows how to eat.
And so you're saying that we actually can become reprogrammed. And I just want to kind of clarify that, because that could be kind of scary to some people.
Yes. Okay, great question. So a lot of people actually are afraid of me, which is actually pretty funny, but it's not scary. So it's not like hypnosis is manipulative. We're not changing you. We're not changing your programming per se. What's happening is we're clearing up your emotional world, meaning that if you're eating because you're bored, or if you're eating for entertainment purposes, or if you're eating because you're sad, angry, any type of emotional eating, it's not rational eating. So my biggest thing is, are you eating because you're hungry? Because then you should eat. We have to eat. And that's period, the end of the sentence.
Yep.
Yet if we're eating because of all these sort of emotional, pulls, we have a little ping here. Okay, so I'm going to eat. We're having a little uncomfortable feeling here. So, okay, so I'm going to binge now. That's purely emotional. It's purely unconscious behavior. Binge eating is completely unconscious behavior. So when you clear up the unconscious mind and you become more conscious, and your inner world is not, battling itself so much, you don't really have to do the external coping behaviors anymore. So that's kind of the essence of it.
So again, how does it work to clear up that programming or that unconscious eating? How does it work? Do you just put a more positive sort of affirmation into our brains, or what?
Great question. So practically speaking, how it works. Beautiful question, because I've been going a little bit broad of, cleaning up the emotions. So how do you clean up the emotions? So what I like to do, and every type of person that does hypnotherapy is different. And the end goal is, yes, to create naturally more positive behavior from feeling better. So the approach can be many different ways from many different hypnotists, but my approach happens to be regression therapy, which happens to be really one of my favorite tools to use. And really what that is your brain functions in a certain way because you've learned certain things. You've had experiences over time. Just like every single human on earth, we've had experiences. So those experiences create the software in our minds of how to function. So again, practically speaking, what that means is basically within a session of hypnosis, when I do regression with people, we go into the memories that are the software. Let's say you're 3 years old, you're 5 years old, you're 7 years old, and there's some sort of emotional thing that happened. And in order to soothe you, let's say your mom gave you a lollipop. Or you had a birthday party and you're super happy and then there's a cake. I see that all the time. Or it's a holiday, Thanksgiving or Christmas, where it's super happy and then the focal point is food. So we've learned that food is such a great way to feel happy, feel comfortable. Okay, so you see those memories, you see the memory. I'm just guiding you. I'm kind of guiding you and holding the space. You see the memory and you tell me, because I'd have no idea otherwise. You say, I'm 3 years old, I'm sad, and there's certain something attached to food. So I say, okay, when you're sad, as the adult looking back, what's happening? How do you feel? And you'll have a bit more of a rational stance. You say, oh, okay, my mom, was in the other room and I felt she was ignoring me. And so, I felt sad. But now as an adult looking back, I can realize actually she was fine, And it's not the way I perceived the message. And then that message got connected to somehow how to cope. And that coping mechanism over time with each little message, each little trigger became your habit. So even if it's a traumatic memory, because again, I work with people with trauma, it doesn't have to be traumatic either. People have had lives. We don't have to have any reason to justify. It's just our software. So if you had a traumatic memory too, that your body is just really trying to cope with, so you drink alcohol or you eat or you have some sort of addiction because your subconscious mind needs to do something to to live, to protect itself, and to survive. So you'll have that habit until you feel safe.
Oh.
So I often say a lot of weight loss comes from trauma, even sexual trauma and stuff like that, where, you know, you're creating a protection around your body, like a bubble.
Right.
Or you don't want to be attractive anymore. So there's certain subconscious messages that are being displayed to you over and over and over. And you're just doing the best you can to just live, you know. So your subconscious mind is actually doing you a favor, but physically it's not doing you any favors.
So it could be, as you just alluded to, just one thing that happens, not to minimize it, but say, for instance, you just broke up with the love of your life. He's gone.
Big deal.
You feel pretty damn horrible about it and about yourself. So that one instance can drive your subconscious mind to think you need to be bigger and less attractive.
Yes.
Or less feminine or less attractive, all in all.
Yeah.
And so that one thing can be a huge pivotal point in your life, right? Is
Yes.
that pretty much what you're saying? So it can be a small, you know, it's not a small instance. It's not, you know, there's no way to go around that. That's big at that time, for sure. Okay. So just to drive that home, it can be just one instance that can be clarified, that can be brought to the light. We bring the light, and, you know, the subconscious sees, oh, that's kind of really silly. We don't really need to give you that message any longer. You can have another wonderful relationship, even though at this moment you think you have to be less attractive and make those choices that make you less attractive. So
that's it.
Yeah.
Beautifully said.
Good. So
you did even better than I can.
Oh, really?
But that's it, basically. Yeah. And sometimes it could be a big instance, it could be instances, or it can be a small little message. Who knows? And again, that's nothing to be scared of or afraid of or something like that. It's just the way the brain works. The brain wants to do everything in its power to protect you, to keep you alive, to actually technically, it's not about making you happy. So if being attractive would make you more happy, but it's somehow threatening to you. Let's say you bring in another relationship that feels threatening. Being happy is not for survival.
Wow, that's a great point. I never thought of that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So it's all about survival. That's what the subconscious is there for.
That's its main function. Keep you alive, keep you protected, keep you safe. And the moment you feel safe, then everything can kind of really shape up. Right.
So, all right, let's go to how much time does it take for these kind of things to happen for people?
So it depends on the person. Generally, it's very quick. You know, I see sometimes people after one session, they'll feel a significant shift. I generally recommend, even after one session, because it's your subconscious mind, you know, it's instant. You go in, you bring the light in, and it'll have a shift. I generally recommend, I typically work with people for about 2 months. That's 8 sessions. That's once a week. And that's for people with, you know, very severe trauma, addictions, disease even. Weight loss, sometimes I work with people about 3 months. Why? Because in the beginning, we do the emotional world. You know, if you're eating because you're bored, sad, whatever, we clean up the emotional world. Then we do I sometimes do something called the hypnoband, which is like the subconscious gastric bypass, which works on your portions too. So it's also another emotional thing with your portions, and you really have it in your mind that your stomach has shrunk. So oftentimes I'll do kind of that in the middle. And then towards the end, it's the more specifics, like what's for you? Are you doing sugar? Are you a carb person? Do you even eat healthy at all? Do you need help working out? Like, depends on you. The core is generally about 8 sessions. Great.
Okay, and you know, I think we all need support. I mean, a lot of us don't like to admit it, but you know, doing life is a lot easier when we have support, and we know that we're not bad or wrong. We just have these things that are a little wonky in our human beingness that just need a little straightening out and, you know, shaping up. I mean, I sounds like I'm minimizing it, which I guess I am, because it can be pretty simple like that.
Right.
And the more that we kind of suffer with and let these things fester, the more we talk ourselves out of getting support, perhaps. So
Yes.
I just highly suggest to people that don't talk yourself out of support, because it's very powerful. You know, I don't think we were put on this earth to be alone, especially in,
yes.
in our challenges. So
I agree wholeheartedly.
So Danna, I think what I'd like to happen to do now is if you would tell us about what your free gift is all about.
Great. Okay. So I have virtually, I have a self-healing 30-day transformation course, which is for weight loss. It deals with sugar addiction, emotional eating, portion control, and healthy habits. And part of that is a sugar addiction, and it's MP3s. It's full on hypnosis, but it's self-guided. So anyone, wherever you are in the world, can access this, can access the hypnosis, and it's a strategic healing. So my gift today is the first part of the healing, which is sugar addiction. It's without fail, most people I work with, I have to nix that habit. So it's great. You know, people do it without even, I mean, it is working with me, but that being said, without even working with me one-on-one personally, that MP3 has, you know, people quit sugar, you know, or at least significantly reduce it. So that's the gift, sugar addiction.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, I've been there myself. It still comes back once in a while, but having employed my weight loss system on myself, obviously it rarely comes back. So I just want to put a plug in there for myself, I guess.
Yeah.
But when it starts to come back, I'm going to use your self-guided hypnosis around that for sure.
Great, as you should.
Yeah, for sure, and we can. So I am going to wrap it up here, and thank you, Danna, for joining us. Really love this empowering information, because that's largely what I'm up to, is empowering women to take control of their weight. And so I want to thank you, viewers, so much for tuning into this summit. I really appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure as well. And I just want to say, you know, if you have tried everything to lose weight, I just want to assure you that you can lose weight. You can do it. It really is possible. It is possible to have a healthier body, to have a body that you like. And, you know, my program draws from recent research, so and it really helps to expand your awareness. And health always accompanies expanded awareness. I just want you to chew on that for a little bit. And isn't that
good one?
Yeah, and it's pretty easy to shut our minds down or we're not getting any results, but we really need to expand our awareness to see what else is possible. And that's part of what my program offers. So
awesome.
So again, thank you, everyone, and I'll be signing off for now. Jean Nitre, weight loss expert, and Danna Pycher, master hypnotherapist.
Bye. Thanks so much. See you.